homicidal insanity, Holmes.
It is indubitable that the man who did this to Polly Nichols is not of his full senses.
Black magic?
I'm not terribly interested in the occult or black magic. Let's give the benefit of the doubt to this motive.
Theft, perhaps.
I have a hard time believing that someone would attack poor Polly so fiercely just to rob her of a few coins.
Revenge, Holmes?
Revenge could be a possible motive, but with one small reservation. We have reason to believe that the victim considered her murderer to be a typical client.
A personal drama?
Love can certainly lead to many a drama, but we have to consider the fact that the victim didn't know her attacker. Elementary. Very well, Watson. I think that we have exhausted the topic. Take a rest and we'll speak again later.
Ah, it would seem that the investigation is advancing, Holmes. Yesterday's Star said that a suspect is in the hands of the police, a man with a rather sinister reputation.
I was about to join you in your optimistic outlook until you informed me that the good news came from the press, Watson.
But surely they wouldn't invent the fact that the police are holding a suspect, or the acts that are attributed to him.
You will have an exact answer to these two questions in less than 50 seconds, Watson.
Pardon?
Enter, Inspector.
Good day.
Dear Watson, allow me to introduce Inspector Abberline, Inspector Dr. Watson.
Inspector?
To what do we owe the honour of your presence, Inspector?
I heard that the two of you made your way to Whitechapel a few days ago. Your arrival, you are aware, coincides with a very serious affair which our police service is going to great lengths to solve and which is creating strong tensions in the area.
Pardon me, but haven't you arrested someone? A certain Leather Apron?
Absolutely not. The man who hides behind this name is indeed being actively searched for by the force. Besides, nothing at the moment suggests that he is the Bucks Row murderer.
There, you've been enlightened, Watson. Now it is our turn to answer Inspector Abberline's questions.
Indeed. I will be brief and precise. Do you intend to investigate this case, or have you already started?
It is to be of service to a friend that I went to Whitechapel. We did, out of curiosity, familiarise ourselves with the preliminary reports, and we made our way to the scene of the crime. Our conclusions are slim, as are the clues. Having not been officially appointed by a client, I believe that my intervention in this business will end there.
Very well. To be frank, you take the weight off my shoulders by distancing yourself from the case. Our image isn't very good, to say nothing of what the press puts us through. Thus, if overnight they found out that you were on the case, people would turn against us.
And they would pester me, overwhelm me, and finally make me out to be responsible for the inevitable failure such a scenario entails. Neither you nor I wish for this to happen. I know that your time is precious, Inspector. I will send you a note regarding my conclusions shortly.
With pleasure. Gentlemen?
Do you think that he will find the murderer?
The chances are slim to non-existent. It is 7 days now, short of a confession from the murderer himself.
And you will not go further?
You heard the Inspector, Watson. My presence in Whitechapel would hinder, which doesn't mean that we will drop the case.
How is that?
The Inspector spoke of me, but not of us. It is you, Watson, who will lead the investigation tonight. It is you who will bring to the police station the little note that I will write regarding our conclusions. Despite the late hour, there is nothing to stop you from making inquiries about this famous Leather Apron while you are there.
Well, if I follow Holmes's instructions, then to begin my investigation into this Leather Apron, I must first head to the police station.
Good evening, sir. What do you... I know you. You were here last week with... Sherlock Holmes!
Indeed. I have come to bring a message from Sherlock Holmes for Inspector Abberline.
Very well, I will pass it on. But come to think of it, someone was asking about you recently. Finley, the caretaker of some shady boarding house nearby. Does that mean anything to you?
Ah, perhaps. Actually, I read in the Star that you have arrested a suspect called Leather Apron.
You shouldn't believe what you read in that rag, sir. The man is being hunted, but we have yet to get our hands on him, and we aren't close to it either.
Why ever not?
Bah, he's a specialist in the streetwalker racket. These girls make pitiful witnesses, and we don't inspire confidence. Furthermore, the man seems to be pretty discreet lately. Someone must be helping to hide him.
How to get on his trail, then?
One of these girls would have to confide in us and give a valid description of the man. Then we'd ask around the journeymen, who use aprons, I imagine.
Well, goodbye. I must go to Finley's boarding house. I must go to Finley's boarding house. Good evening, Finley.
Oh, good evening, sir. Aren't you the gentleman who was with the great detective the other time?
That is indeed me, Dr. Watson. Tell me, Finley, I was told that you were looking for us at the police station.
Indeed, I wanted to thank you for last time, you know. That vagrant has never set foot round mine again. I even found a tenant, one who pays his rent, I mean.
You don't seem very happy, but you were lucky to have found a good tenant so quickly.
It's just that this man is very strange. He paid several days in advance and I gave him a key to the place. Since then, he goes out every night and returns at ungodly hours. I'm sure he goes to visit the ladies, but still, every night. And when he moved in, something must have broken in his case and stank up the stairs in his room for 2 days. I think it was a jar. It must be over there.
Tell me, have you heard talk of Leather Apron?
By the papers, that's all. This man seems very sinister.
Do you know any journeymen who use this type of apron?
The slaughterhouse butchers, I believe, but definitely the cobblers. I know one, old Isaac Solomonovich. His workshop is on a small street in the Jewish community, across from the hospital. He's a good man. He can help you. But you know, the people there are very close and don't share much with non-Jews.
Thank you, Finley.
At your service, sir.
This odour is very strong indeed, but the whole neighbourhood as such has a dreadful stench. Finley might have an idea as to what this bottle contained.
What do you want, Doctor?
You're right, the pieces of the jar that your tenant broke do give off a strange smell.
It's true. That's quite normal given his trade.
Yes, and what would the trade be of your strange tenant?
A doctor, like yourself, I believe. Dr. Tumblety, a foreigner. Canadian, perhaps.
Dr. Tumblety. It might be interesting to know more about him. Thank you, Finley.
At your service, sir.
Oh, it's you. I'm coming. Dr. Watson, how are you?
Well, and yourself? And how's your uncle?
Well, he sleeps a lot, but he doesn't seem to be suffering. Your medicine has worked wonders. Thank you again.
It was the least I could do. I have come to see you about a certain Leather Apron. Have you heard of him?
Oh, yes, of course. Terrible things are said about that man.
Have you ever come across him?
Goodness gracious, no. But I know that he has threatened and taken many girls in my situation. I don't know what more I can say, but Bella would be able to tell you, Sam.
Who is Bella?
Bella Pullman. She's the landlady of the place where I could take you there if you like.
Please do.
It's me. It's Lucy. This gentleman would like to speak to Bella. It's the doctor who helped me. I must leave to return to my uncle. Thanks again.
Can I get a refill, please?
If you'd be patient, Madam Bella will arrive in a moment.
Good evening. I am Dr. Watson. It is young Lucy who told me to come see you.
So you're the Good Samaritan who saved her uncle without asking for anything in return. And now you've come to see me, no doubt, to explain that the poor little thing doesn't belong here, and you will see to her future. Well, if you expect me to let her leave with you...
It's not that, Ma'am. You should know I am a married man.
And why should that matter?
I believe there has been a misunderstanding. The reason that Lucy sent me here is that you may be able to give me some information about Leather Apron.
Are you a doctor or a constable?
I am most certainly a doctor, but I am acting in this matter in a private capacity, and I would like to find this man.
Well, if you're able to rid us of him, I'll give you a week's worth of free passes. That man is a thorn in our sides. He spies on the girls in the streets and watches them inside the houses, spying through the windows. And as soon as they're finished with a client, he jumps on them without any warning and forces them to give him their money. I've never seen him, but one of my girls was attacked by this man, and she said that he wore a leather apron and carried a knife. And his face, he has a horrible head with rat's eyes and a deformed mouth. She even said that she knew his name, Pizer or Pizer, I think. But I don't know where she can be found. Margie, Nutcracker, the girl I'm talking about, could tell you more, but I had to let her go last week.
Why did you let Margie go?
The poor girl caught a shameful sickness, and the symptoms have attacked her face, if you know what I mean. So I gave her notice, and a little bit to help her along. I don't know where she is now, but she'll certainly be getting treatment at the clinic if she's still in the neighbourhood.
Did you speak to the police?
What would they do? Who cares about the girls in the streets?
Would you have received a visit from another doctor, a stranger by the name of Tumbleton?
I'm just like you, Doctor, sworn to secrecy in my profession. But as I've taken a fancy to you, I can tell you that this name is not unknown to me. And if you do me a little favour, it is possible I might remember something about him.
What kind of favour must I do for you?
You see that man over there? He's a rich artist. A painter, a regular client round here. Well, yesterday, he came and left his cane in the umbrella stand in the hall before going into one of the rooms. Well, when he returned to this room, the cane had disappeared. It's a cane with a massive silver knob. Must be worth a fortune. He threatened to call the police unless he got free services in my establishment for a year. I'll be forced to accept, unwillingly, of course, given the services that he's demanding, unless the cane is found.
Did you question the residents regarding the theft?
They didn't see anything, and there's not one of them that would risk stealing from a client here.
Who was in the room when your weasel of a client was in the chambers?
There were a few that came and went, but Mary could tell you better than I can, because she was the one at the counter yesterday.
Thank you, Ma'am.
No problem, my angel.
What happened to this rug?
Oh, it's when we got a coal yesterday. I asked the young man to fill the pail. came back to put it down, but his feet were covered in soot and he made a black print. Madam Bella said it was my fault and I got a shilling's penalty. I also have to clean the print and it's no picnic. He has immense feet, that boy.
I heard that there was a theft yesterday. Did you see anything?
No, and I was here the whole time.
Who delivers the coal?
It's never the same person. I've never seen that lad before.
Do you always keep an eye on the coat stand?
Oh, yes. Well, when the coal delivery came, a client came out of the chambers and stopped me from seeing the boy who brought the bucket of coal. You don't think he would have taken advantage?
Until next time, miss.
With pleasure, sir.